It is No Gifts Please, the parenting podcast by the pair with no real gifts, but a whole lot of gumption. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Noviello.
And I'm Jenny Anchondo.
And you are a liar.
Tell me.
Here's why.
What?
What I have discovered about you
big accusations.
is that when you text somebody to say, I'm walking up, that is a lie. Because I got a text from you that said, I'm walking up to our studio space.
Yeah.
And then I pulled into the parking lot. And there you were,
sitting there,
just about to get out of your car.
Well, that's like walking up.
That's like
walking up.
No, that is like somebody who's like, oh, we're getting ready. And it's like, are you getting ready or are you getting ready to get ready? Like,
okay.
Oh, we just left the house means you're getting ready. And oh, I'm on my way means I haven't quite left the house yet. Are you one of those people? Because you don't strike me as that person.
No, I mean, I'm usually on time.
Well, you're very on time.
I do consider walking up. Like, I'm not going to text and walk. Just kidding. I totally do. But I guess I just considered that to be up because it's not very far. It's not congested. It's a low traffic area. You know, maybe I got stuck in the elevator. Who knows? But here we are. And despite your accusations, I will say that congratulations are in order.
What?
For the Hope Party.
Oh. Well, okay. But that was, I do want to say this. You are so good at what you do. I have never attended the Hope Party as an attendee. I've always been there to MC. I've MC'd the event for years. And to sit and watch somebody else do it, you in particular, you were so captivating and I thought connected so well. It's hard. I mean, there were 530 people there and to be able to connect with them is difficult, especially, and we can debrief here, that event, because it starts in another space and then people are like filtering in as the event begins and you're essentially talking to a room full of people who are not paying attention.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out a way to get them to sit down and get settled and like get engaged because now it's time to get to work. Is a challenging thing to do. And I thought you did great. I really did.
That is the biggest compliment.
No, you really did. Doug and I both, when we were sitting there, just again, you have a very beautiful way of making every single person in a room of 500 plus people feel like you are talking to them individually. You do.
Thank you, Steve. And
welcome.
You, Doug. That is really
Jenny is available for your next event. My cut is 20%.
It is a unique challenge because you want people to have fun, right? But Halliburton Foundation, we're talking about mental health. We're talking about suicide prevention. We're talking about like some really heavy things, but it's also a party. Yes. And so we need to raise money. Like that's why we're there. So it's a big combination, but talk about your new role.
What new role?
This year.
I was co-chair of the event, along with Danielle Hunter and Reed Robertson.
New role. You're like, what, did I get another TV show?
Well, for a minute I was like, oh my God, what did I commit to now? I thought it was done. It was great. We had a personal goal among the three of us. We're a little competitive, to raise the most money ever, which we did. We smashed it. We had the most people. We raised the most money. I think the event was beautiful. My parents flew in for it. And as good of a job as you did, my parents walked away from that event with a new favorite person.
Okay.
And his name is Heath, and you are married to him. They were just on and on. So kind and so engaging, and the accent and the whole, Heath, I don't know if he realizes this, but he has like your husband is very accomplished, obviously, and he's a great dad and a large child.
Yes.
And
a very large
also
child.
has like this kind of like aw shucksness about him, you know what I mean?
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Which is also very endearing.
I think it's endearing, and I think it's almost like people can relax around him.
Yes.
Because he may make a verbal gaffe accidentally, which makes everybody think, oh, I can relax now. Or he's also like, I always am impressed by him during those moments where if I'm working an event, I'm like, we may arrive together, but then I'm sort of doing a mic check, or I'm meeting with the presenters, or meeting with the priest you're going to introduce, or the pastor you're going to introduce, that sort of thing. And so he's on his own usually for like the whole event, and he usually doesn't know anybody. So he's probably thrilled that your parents were there and you were there and Doug was there to have some friends, but he also like met a bunch of new people too, just like on his own. So thank you for saying that. And I think it's one of my favorite things
I
about
bet he's
him.
like a really good +1 at a wedding.
Oh, yes. Well, because we'll definitely dance.
Yes.
Like we'll definitely dance, or he's not scared to get the dance party started. And it's not like, I mean, he's good at two-stepping. He's good at like country dance, but like everything else, it's kind of like, he's not going to show anybody up on the dance floor, but he will be there. And I think it's one of my favorite things about him. We need to go out and party more, I guess.
Well, and also he is an accomplished business professional who is also very approachable. You know what I mean? Like it's a good combination. It's a good quality to have, and he leans into this again, kind of almost self-deprecating idea of like, I shouldn't have any of this. Like this was all a mistake. Like this is somebody else's life that I'm living because I'm, this kid from East Texas who grew up in a trailer. And, now I clearly don't live in one anymore. So it's nice.
We're grateful. We are both very grateful. Well, thank you for saying that.
No.
Did your parents have fun? Did they enjoy the Dallas scene?
They did. So my mom is chairing the 100th anniversary charity ball for the Rockettes.
Oh,
so
okay.
I said,
so you
and she's
come
never,
by it
well, so
naturally.
she's never done anything like that before. So I said, why don't you come to the Hope Party for Grant Halliburton Foundation? And that way you can kind of see what we do, because I was explaining to her, like, look, here's the auction, and like people just give this stuff. And then like we also have people underwrite the photo booth. So we'll print your name on every picture. And she's like, people pay for it? Yes, they just give money, and they gave quite a bit. So it was an honor to be able to lend my time and talent to that.
I had goosebumps when I saw some of the donations that were coming in.
It was crazy.
It was really impressive. And you guys also did, I feel like you kind of brought your TV skills to the table with like the intro video, and there was just like a lot of different
Reed's idea.
Thoughtful, so many thoughtful touches, and you all just dominated. So congrats.
Well, thank you.
Successful event.
Yes.
And now we get to talk about our kids.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, there's
You've
so
got
many.
Your list?
I've got this list, and it's funny because I'm like, okay, where do I prioritize in terms of I'm dying to know your take on this?
Okay.
Do your kids make? And I actually like have no idea what your answer is going to be on this. Is there ever a situation where you say like, Jacob, Hudson, grab your breakfast, or is that every morning, or do they make their snacks when they come home from school? Do they ever prepare their own dinner?
Dinner, no.
They don't have your meatball recipe yet?
No, they don't. Although they'll like help, right?
Sure.
But it's actually funny you should say that, because so Hudson, in their morning routine, Hudson enjoys, we call it his breakfast bag. So it's actually a little Tom Ford shopping bag that Reed gave him.
Ooh la la.
That he fills with it's like kind of like a continental breakfast. Like there'll be like a roll of Ritz crackers in there and a juice, like a squeezy.
I think you've mentioned
We've talked about
yes,
this, right?
yes.
So he can, and our pantry is such that like when any of those items are out, he can access all of them and kind of replenish the breakfast bag. So just this morning, I came down, he was laying on the couch watching TV, and he was like, Daddy, can I have my breakfast bag? And I was like, you know where it is, buddy. Go ahead and get it. He was like, oh. And I was like, you know where it is. Like, go get it.
Yeah.
So then I walked away and I was going back upstairs, and I heard him call to Doug to be like, can you give me my breakfast bag?
Resourceful.
And I went back in, and as proud as I was that you you didn't like my answer, so you were farming another one. I did not. I said, buddy, I just told you, like, I don't need you asking your other dad because you didn't like the answer. Your daddy and I are a team. And when one of us gives you an answer, you can consider that it's from both of us.
Had Doug replenished it for him, or did you get to him before that could happen?
I didn't see it. And frankly, I hope that he didn't give it to him. I hope that he got up and got it for himself. But also my kids aren't like, I think that Hudson also would sooner be like, okay, I guess I'm not eating.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, a question for Reed, though. Why doesn't Jacob have a Tom Ford breakfast bag?
Because I only bought one pair of sunglasses. And then Jacob, same thing. So like, okay, like at night for snack time, and this oddly they do enjoy, like they both like making Skinny Pop popcorn, the kind from the microwave. And that's kind of a big deal for them, that they like to get up, they like to make it. I get a little nervous because we're opening the bag, it gets hot or whatever, but they're very much into that. They get their own like popsicles, that kind of thing. And I will say, to Hudson's credit, he is the first to clean the house. He likes cleaning. Like
yes,
he'll be like,
he does.
He'll be like, this room's a mess. And then like he'll get on this like cleaning thing, and like he will legit like straighten up and clean like 3 or 4 rooms in the house, like where they've, but whereas
I've been meaning to invite him over more often.
Well, but like, whereas when I'm like, hey guys, let's go, like, and they're like, that's Hudson's, I didn't take that out. Like, that's Jacob's, I didn't touch that, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I didn't touch it. Like, how is it my responsibility?
But I'm not hearing that there's a, like, we're going to just go grab the bread and the peanut butter and the jelly and like make a sandwich.
You guys are making sandwiches?
Yeah. No.
And maybe we need to.
Well, that's why I was wondering, because I feel like I've been sort of like delving into it, but what prevents me from doing it is the obvious cleanup. Like it's with so many things with children, it's so much easier. It's like when they were first learning to tie their shoes. It's so much easier to just do it yourself.
Well, I will remind you of one of our first and favorite guests.
Yes.
Long-term, short-term, easy is long-term. From our Maples Labels friend. Because, and by the way, I say this as the man who was putting Hudson's pants on him this morning, because I was like, let's
right.
And as I was doing it, I was thinking to myself, it's funny that you should bring this up, because I was literally thinking about this morning. I was thinking to myself, do you know how to put pants on? Like, surely you do. Like, I've seen you do it, but like, I really need to stop putting your pants on. Honestly, even sometimes like where I'm just like so exhausted at the end of the day that I want them to go to bed, I'll be like, come here, I'll brush your teeth. And like, I'll just give them a quick brush and like I'll just do it for you.
I will say our pediatric dentist, Brighton's been brushing her own teeth for a couple of years. And she was like, hey, let's loop back around to you helping with the molars for a while. So she was like, it's a team effort, but like, let her start and then you finish or whatever.
Up, yes.
But I was thinking about those things. I think there can be like these gaps where it's like, oh, don't worry, the kids know how to balance their checking account, but they don't know how to put their pants on or things like that. And I was thinking, food preparation, I feel like is the next step for Brighton. She cooks with me a lot. Like we make pancakes and she'll add the flour or like, I'll measure out the baking soda and she pours it in.
Are you making pancakes from scratch?
If I make them, yeah. It's not like I make them often, but yes.
Wait, it's not like a Bisquick or an Aunt Jemima situation, like pearl mining, whatever it's called now.
This is what I put in my pancakes.
Dirt, buckwheat,
banana, egg, collagen powder, cinnamon, vanilla, baking powder.
Collagen powder.
Well, they're kind of like a protein. It's like to make it like a protein, and then oats. And so it kind of makes a pancake.
Brighton, it's a hearty pancake.
Brighton will always be like, oh, they turned out kind of funny again. And I'm like, yeah. Because when Heath makes pancakes, it's Bisquick.
Right.
Or like if my mom makes a pancake, she makes a homemade from scratch, but it's like proper proportions with actual flour, and I don't use actual flour. So that's just sort of the difference. But I was thinking she needs to be able to start making, and she's done it a couple times, like a PB&J. It's so messy. And so I always will back away from it, but I feel like I'm trying to encourage myself to leave some things, like leave some milk lower so she can do cereal.
Right. Here are the things that we do. You set the table.
Okay, yes.
So
same.
They fight over, and we've talked about this before. One does chargers and dishes, one does forks and napkins, right? For some reason, one of those tasks is much harder than the other, and they argue over it. You clear your plate. If you are eating, you take your plate and you put it in the dish, you rinse it off and put it in the dishwasher. And those are relatively within the last, I'm going to say 6 months or so, things that it's like, okay, like let's contribute, here. Doug and I are a little bit different on the weekends, like as to what our expectation from them is of how clean a room should be when you leave it. So it's kind of that's a little bit of a,
like who's cleaner?
I think I am.
Really?
Yeah,
Doug's like more laid back with it?
Yeah, we'll just get to it. Like, whereas I'm like, okay, like we just finished in the kitchen. Like, let's clean all of this up. Let's straighten the chairs. Like now we'll move on to like, we're done with breakfast. So like, let's leave the room ready to go for the next time.
That's smart.
Not always, but generally. The one thing we don't do with them, which I feel like we probably should, and we don't do it because there's nothing to do. They don't make their beds because they don't really have like bedding. They have like a blanket that they sleep on, and that's that. Maybe I should start making them fold the blanket or something.
Like, do they sleep with stuffies?
Yeah, but they're all like...
They need to be arranged cutely at the pillow. That's Brighton's making of the bed. Yes. It takes 2 seconds.
Right. But like, something, right. Like they get their own socks, they brush their hair, they brush their teeth,
Oh, that's one Brighton and I have been going through. Is she really wants to do her own hair every day for school.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
but not...
It is.
Oh, because you're worried that like someone's going to see her unkempt hair and judge you, or because...
No, it's actually super, like a lot deeper than that.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, do I really want to reveal that this is how I feel about this? But I guess
one's listening.
Who's gonna, what's the point in listening if you're not going to get some tea, I guess. I think that there is a very subtle, people don't even realize they're doing it when you're, engaging with a child, teaching a child, having to care for that child all day, and they're super wild, unkempt, and just look a little crazy, I don't think they get the same TLC.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, that's kind of what I meant, right?
Like and it's not about judging. I don't think that I'm not worried about anybody at school being like, oh, Jenny like just doesn't care about her daughter and she just lets her show up just haphazard, or she's not respecting the school's dress code, because they already know that I don't, because she's always like not in uniform.
Peter Pan collar.
Right. So it's more like, I just think that when you show up a certain way, people are like, wow, Brighton, I love your hair. I'm delighted to see you. I think that we went so far from like, aesthetics don't matter. Showmanship doesn't matter. What you look like doesn't matter, in an effort to not make people feel bad about themselves, that we've gone to the way of like not letting kids get the pleasant reaction that they could benefit from. Because when she dresses up and has her hair in pigtail braids and like somebody gives her a little compliment, she raises her chest a little higher, her chin a little higher, is a little bit more confident, and thus gets better reaction. And then she's speaking up. I just think it's a whole cycle. So
no, I don't disagree.
You see what I'm saying? And I think it can come across as really vain, and I hope it doesn't. I hope it's like, I want the best for her, and I want her teachers to enjoy the experience with her and not have her hair in her face and like snot getting in her hair and like getting in her lips at lunch, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I will tell you, as somebody who teaches, when one of my students is in my class, and these are college-aged kids, and they're like well put together, you're exactly right. My focus on them is far different than somebody who's like unkempt and like you know, their hair is. I look at that person and I think to myself, you make poor decisions, and I'm not going to really waste my time investing in you, because I don't know that you're going to make the deep enough decision to participate in what it is that I'm trying to teach you here.
Yes. No, exactly. Well, I'm glad that you kind of like are picking up on what I'm saying.
I don't think it's untrue.
So
it's interesting that, and I don't mean to cut you off, but no. We just, on my late night show, we were talking about this woman who was applying for an SVP job. It was like an SVP of Human Resources. And she was like, I nailed it. Like, I nailed the interview. Like, our cultures matched, my answers matched. I mean, everything. But I didn't go on to the next round. And she said, I never do this. But I asked the recruiter, like, what was it? Like, and they said, well, they felt that you didn't put enough effort into your appearance for the level of job that you were seeking, this SVP level. And she said, what are you talking about? I had a blazer on, I had a press shirt, my hair was done, she said, I don't really wear makeup, so I just put some chapstick on and whatever. And they said, by not wearing makeup, you gave the impression that you weren't investing into this experience.
Ooh.
It's interesting. I think that's a touchy one with women, right? Because there's that whole like, well, like, what is that saying about a woman's role and blah, blah, blah. You never ask a man to wear makeup, but you know,
it's touchy. I don't have an appropriate answer. I probably have some answers that would get me canceled, and I think you can assume what they would be. I mean, we're more used to it because working in TV, obviously, I've always had my hair color and cut within a contract, where if I'm going to get it changed, I have to
talk to somebody,
permission,
right?
And if it doesn't go right, I have to go get it fixed. And that, like, my young 20s, really, I fought against that so hard, like trying to sneak in with like hoop earrings and like these weird collars and stuff that honestly looked tacky and not professional and was not dressing for the job that I wanted. And I think that once I learned how to do that and then dress however I wanted in my free time, I rose through the ranks much quicker, because you have to play the game that you are joining.
Correct.
You could change the game if you want to dedicate your whole life to that.
You can change the game from the inside easier than you can change it from the outside. You're never going to change the game as a spectator. So like, here's the deal. If that means you've got to, deal with, throw on some makeup or whatever the equivalent is for a man, or whatever the setting may be. There was a kid that I used to mentor at one of the youth groups I volunteered at, and she wanted a job like at Walmart, and she had green hair and, all. And I was like, and she didn't get hired. And she was like, I was like, listen, take the lip ring out, take the nose ring out, like make your hair a color that's found in nature. I know green is found in nature, but not that shade.
Sure.
And like, you might get the job. Like, I should. And I was like, I get it. Like, no one's trying to squash your individuality. Like, we get it. Like, but like at the end of the day, like, people don't want the customers are going to come in and take a look at you and think, this person makes poor choices. I'm not going to trust them with my business.
Yeah. So that's where I go with Brighton doing her own hair, because she loves to style it. She's actually I love how she's into her fashion and her style, and she likes to get creative, and she loves to do it, and every once in a while we'll do that. But if it's like a particular day, like a field trip, or somebody's coming into the classroom, or I know that they have like science class, like all of their electives that day, like let's make you really buttoned up, and I will help you with your hair, or you can add like maybe the bow at the end or something like that. So I'm just kind of struggling with that, because eventually she will need to do her own hair, like unless she has falls into some sort of profession where somebody does her hair every day.
Oh, so nice. Oh. I will say, and I say this by the way as a parent who both of our children right now are in such desperate need of a haircut, and like I'm not talking like it's a little unruly, like it is. In fact, I have some photos I'll show you. Like, and we're going today. We've got one today, and because Jacob's got that like crazy, super cute,
so
but
good.
Like it's hard. It's not like, you're just going to go get a haircut. You know what I mean? Like you got to find the right person to do it. And we have a girlfriend of ours who does it, but she's out of town. And then Hudson, we've always cut his short, but like he has curly hair. So like I'm trying for it to do something that
like
it's not
style.
To do. So now it's really grown out, like really grown out.
Ooh.
And now I need to take him to someone who can be like, okay, here's what I've got. Like trim it. Like make it into something
like a vision,
because it is time. Like you're almost 6 years old. Your brother's almost 8. Like we need to like have a hairstyle of some sort. Like it can't just be, I rolled out of bed because I'm a boy and I went to school.
Right.
Like let's get a little bit more, because like, Jacob is into like what they both are into what they're wearing. But I was like, we have to like, we brush our hair every day, guys.
And is that, you still set out the clothes the night before?
No, I don't. Okay. Yeah. I did. And now it's me doing that every day because of Doug's work schedule. And we're pretty good about it. So Jacob wakes up, he asks Alexa what the weather's going to be, and then we'll determine whether or not he's wearing pants or shorts. And then like the weight of his shirt.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
Mini meteorologist, maybe.
And meanwhile, Hudson, like he likes to dress himself, and he will be like, you know, I mean, like, he loves a pair of cowboy boots. He loves a long sock.
Yeah.
Sometimes he loves both with shorts. Like he'll put on like shorts and like knee-high socks because they're like his big brother's like soccer socks.
Yeah.
And like a pair of cowboy boots and like a t-shirt and be like, let's go. And I'm like,
that's hard, isn't it? Because how creative.
Right,
and he really did think it through.
But like today's PE and you can't wear cowboy boots to PE and like, let's, you know.
Tell him to get with Heath on that.
Like
Heath would be sending him in cowboy boots every day.
Like we were at Topgolf this weekend and he had flip-flops on and I was like, cute, but like you can't be running around all the place in those flip-flops. Like you're going to break your neck, you know? Like I'm all into you having your own style, but let's be safe.
Okay. I like it.
You didn't think that was going to be my answer?
No, I really wasn't sure. I wasn't like, your house is always so clean. It doesn't look like kids have been making peanut butter jelly sandwiches. They're also usually in cute outfits. So it didn't seem like you were like free for all, do whatever you want. So I just wasn't sure. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I do think that we need to be better about that stuff. They're getting so big so fast. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
And that's the thing. Like I'm all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, you're 8. Like,
I know.
Okay. Like I was talking to my parents about this weekend. We were joking about, so I was a latchkey kid, which I don't think is even a term that they use anymore.
I think they like call CPS now. Right. I don't know.
It's like an 80s thing. And my mom and I were talking about this and I was like, well, how old I was like, I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade. And my mother was like, absolutely not. There's no way that you were coming home from elementary school alone. And I was like, no, I think that I was.
And then you were watching like Saved by the Bell and making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I was watching He-Man every afternoon instead of doing my homework. And, you know, doing whatever. I used to actually break into our house because I would always forget my key and I would climb a tree and go through a second-story window. My parents used to get really mad at me.
Oh my God.
But I got in.
Wow.
I got in.
Okay.
That
all right. Was worthwhile.
Exactly. All right. Listen up. We've got a new episode every Tuesday morning. 7 a.m. is when they drop it. You can listen anytime, day or night. Plus, catch up on old episodes. It's always interesting to me to see how many people are starting at the beginning, season 1, episode 1, to learn who we are and go from there. Listen, plus, click like, click subscribe so we can keep doing what we love to do. And part of that is being with you. Go find yourself a friend you don't need to clean the house for. Bye.
Nice rhyme.
Thanks.